is Mike Faello. He is the chief for Surf City Cyclery, the cycling team, and he is the general manager at the Surf City Cyclery shop.
Correct. I think the guys would even tell you this from day one. The goal was never to be to find the guys that win all the races. I wanted guys that I could befriend and I wanted to hang out on Sundays with. So we put together kind of a motley crew of guys and created great chemistry, and the team kind of evolved from there.
That's great. So tell me a little bit about some of the guys on your team. And apparently you have one female that is riding Masters this year in Dotsie Bosch. So can you give me a quick rundown of the players on your team?
Sure, and I hope the guys don't get offended if I don't mention everyone, but you know, we have a couple great leaders on the team. Kurt Bausch, decorated national champion. Mark Scott, whose leadership it's like having a dictionary of how to race a bike. He is so experienced as a team captain. Of course, Sharon being an amazing sprinter. We have new powerhouses like John Wyke, Ben Travis, Pat Boz.
Where did they come from?
Rob Kay. Rob came from Cal Pools. Ben was from a Vegas team. He's going to forget, I don't remember the name exactly. Jessup, actually. Jessup. Pat Boz was over at Spy. We've added some 45-plussers, 50-plussers. Steve Strickler, and also another national champion, an experienced racer. John Flagg, Mike Caro. Of course, Dotsie Bausch. Dotsie's an amazing story. To have, you know, a recent Olympian decorated on our team and racing against the men is awesome.
Probably makes some people nervous out there.
I wouldn't want to be in a road race with her. I know where I'd be, well behind her. She was also my coach for 2 years. Empower Coaching, her coaching system, sponsors the team, so she's been a huge asset also. So really great resources, and it just kind of evolved organically throughout the years.
Take me through who your sponsors are this year.
Great sponsor, Sterling BMW is back. Of course, we have also new Athletic Recon, or I should say new Athletic Recon. McLaren of Newport Beach has stepped up. Of course, Cytomax is back, Muscle Milk, Maureen Upton, who's a great law firm, Skull Candy. I'm going through the list in my head and I can't think of them all, but Goo, of course, Specialized Bikes, Oakley Sunglasses, Fox for some casual apparel, namely shoes and bags, and the list goes on, but all great sponsors. And really, you know, people don't realize, they see a car and they see tents out there. We're going to these people that have really no clue what cycling is, that are, you know, non-endemic sponsors, and I'm beating down doors year after year, and I'm trying to get them to open their wallets in a time where there's controversy in bike racing and in general at the big levels, and we don't have a big budget. We scrape by. It's a good show, but it's a difficult task every year, and I tell the guys I feel like Jerry Maguire at the time. So.
Yeah, I understand. Trying to raise dollars in this day and age is very hard, but you seem to put a professional team out there the very best you can. You have some really big hitters like you mentioned. You kind of even upgraded your squad this year, and you guys are off to a 3-0 start when Sharon's sitting in the field. So let's just talk about him a little bit. And I got a chance to interview Chris DeMarchi from MRI, and I know there's some really good competitive edge. It's actually positive for the sport that you guys have these two wonderful teams. But tell me a little bit about Sharon and how he's evolved as a bike rider.
I'm not going to take credit for his evolution. He did it on his own. But I think I got lucky in that I found him at the right time, because he was winning previously and previous to our team. But I think he's really taken his own, or you know, become himself over the past few years, and has evolved into an amazing sprinter. And I've heard him called one of the best sprinters in Southern California. Well, I'll one-up that. The guy won the field sprint at Nats. If Mike Leeser didn't get away, a guy that he's beaten consistently, great guy, but a guy that he's beaten consistently throughout the year, Sharon would have, you know, stars and bars. So he's one of the best 35-plus sprinters in the country. That's proven. He doesn't win by a wheel. He wins by a bike and then some. And locally, yes, but our budget doesn't allow us to travel much beyond Southern California, Northern California. So we can't get to some of the events that others would like us to get to prove ourselves. So we're doing what we can with what we have, and making a pretty good run of it.
Well, that's good. Tell me a little bit about, we'd love to see you, first of all, be in the Tulsa Tough. If you guys can make it out there, I think that is one that each one of your riders that you took out there, if you could take out a squad, for me being there, I think you guys would really enjoy it. So just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yeah, again, you know, you put together a roster of sponsors and they shake your hand and say yes, and then when it comes time to getting that check, it doesn't always come. So we had a travel budget, a nationals budget, and some of those things just aren't going to happen. And you know, it's easy to say, you know, bring a team there. If anybody out there wants to make that happen for us, we'll organize it. But up to this point, we just don't have the funds to bring a team out for weeks at a time.
Tell me what your goals are for this year, for this team.
Our goals are very simple. Have a great time, be great ambassadors for the people that allow us to race, our sponsors, and to realize that we're amateur bike racers. This is a hobby. This is a wonderful hobby that becomes a passionate hobby, but it's not what defines us entirely. We do this for fun, for exercise, and for competition. We don't have anything to prove. We're proving anything we need to prove with our actions, and that's just the way it is. So we hear comments here and there, and we understand the comments, but your direction isn't our direction. Our direction is our direction, and we'll continue to go that way and succeed doing it. And when it starts becoming fun, we'll stop doing it.
Absolutely.
We all have jobs. We all have to work, you know, so we train when we can.
You're absolutely correct. We'd like to thank you for joining us today. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Without getting into a cat fight, I'll say one thing that did somewhat ring my bell. I heard someone say in a previous interview that it was referred to that there were no races won by our team after Manhattan Beach. In fact, we won states. Sharon won states after that by himself with no team. And Manhattan Beach was in July. The season starts in January. The season typically ends in August. So that's like saying we went 3.5 quarters scoring 40 points, but we didn't score in the second half or second quarter of the second half or whatever, you know. So these kinds of things really fuel our fire, but they don't really hold much water when you look at the facts and take things out of context. So that's it. I just want that to be known. And we did it last year without Kirk Bausch, without Mark Scott, our captains, Mark was back east, Kirk was traveling with Dotsie for the Olympics, without a big motor like Kenny Rogers, who was out with a broken leg, with Travis Wilkerson and Tommy Robles, our two really big, strong, amazing teammates, focusing their second half more on riding out at Leadville and doing mountain biking, which is awesome, and they helped us out immensely. Tommy won Dana Point. But the bottom line is we got a fresh new team this year, and we're going to line up more than 4 or 5 guys at every race, not like last year. So it's going to be a whole new ballgame for everyone.
I actually can't wait to see the slugfest out there.
It'll be a great time.
But take me back to that Dana Point when you guys, when Tommy won, you know, everybody thought Sharon was going to win, and whether he thought there was 1 lap to go or not, we'll never know. But I'll tell you, Tommy did a great job and win, and there's a great picture that we got of you guys where you guys are all holding hands kind of on your bikes riding across the, that's kind of one of those epic moments, I think.
Yeah, it sticks in my head, and again, that's why we do this. I mean, it's that kind of camaraderie you don't get from a Sunday morning training ride, you know, you don't. But I won't get into details of what we tried to do with that race. I'll just say that it worked, and we'll leave it at that. But there's a lot of, the good thing about me being a noob, we can bring sometimes fresh ideas and use the experience of the guys that have been there and try to take bike racing in a different direction. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this is Mike Faello. He is the chief for Surf City Cycling.